nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry Austin. Joining me is Royce. How are you?
Here, tired, still very tired from this weekend. I'm resorting to things against my health and my betterment to be with you today because I
The
am
birthday boy.
tired. And it's not that exciting. I'm just really tired. We're at SeaWorld pretty much all day Saturday for like 7 hours, and then I went to the game, and then we did laundry and caught up on dishes and all that stuff on Saturday. Real party animal. Watch out now. And then we went to go eat a nice dinner with our family last night, and I'm exhausted. So yay, hooray! Older and I feel older. It's great combo. Great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, you had recently had a birthday just like I did in the month of July. Yours was a little bit later than mine, so happy belated birthday to you. Robert, how are you? You sound a lot better this week. What happened?
Yes, like I actually came to the new age. I got Google Fiber. I recommend it. It's amazing. The connection is drastically better. Like I said, I don't have as many cool things that I did over the weekend in terms of laundry and dishes, but I had a good time. I'm not as tired as probably Royce's, but I'm here. Let's go.
I have Google Fiber as well. Welcome to modern times. It's amazing.
It's the best.
Wonderful.
There's only one that doesn't have Google Fiber. Rafa.
Hopefully soon. It's a fun weekend. I was out in San Marcos yesterday with my aunt. She had her birthday yesterday too. Also, my younger brother, he had a birthday, so happy birthday to both. So went to the outlets and went out to Black's Barbecue in New Braunfels. Shout out to them. Really good barbecue.
It is.
And first day back, well, kind of officially first day back of the new recruiting season. So I went to my first school today.
Nice.
So if you're looking for a college, reach out to Rafa. He can give you a sales pitch for that here.
Over
Matt,
80 programs.
CJ, how are you?
Matt, CJ.
So first topic, just like always, initial thoughts on the week. 4 points. I think if you had asked me, I thought the results would have been different. Tie in Vegas on the road. And win at home. Unfortunately, I went the other way for that here. We'll start with you, Rafa, since we ended with you. Kind of your initial thoughts on the week, and then we'll dip into the Vegas match. We'll probably breeze through that one a little bit quicker, and then there's lots to discuss about the LA match. So we'll just leave it at that.
This was a little before the big game this coming Saturday at Loyal, which we'll talk about later. This is an opportunity to get 6 points. I thought we were going to get the 6 points. I think the one game I thought maybe we'll have a little struggle to be at Las Vegas because Las Vegas has beaten some teams, and they've given trouble to, like El Paso and Phoenix. But, our boys persevered there in Vegas and got the 3 points. But, I thought the LA game, I thought we were going to dominate, and someone else decided to make a statement with that.
LA's a better team. I know they're a 2 team, but they're a quality 2 team. I'll give the respect to LA. Los Dos on that. They're not the MLS 2 teams out east.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I guess we'll more go into depth into that game later on.
Robert, your thoughts on the week overall?
I mean, you can't be disappointed. 4 points or 4 points, and like you said, I kind of agree that the lights game seemed more like the opportunity for a draw because of the field conditions, the shenanigans. You just never know what's going to happen at a place. It could be random storms, 6 delays, or whatever it was. Like, so no, it was a little disjointed, but like I was happy with that result. And like I said, there are circumstances I'm sure we'll dive into later about the second game and some of the I guess, what do you want to call them, players or thugs that were on the other team. Referee, questionable. But we'll dive into that later.
Hey, we're not San Diego here. We don't go into their LinkedIn and see if they like a post from a couple of years ago about a stadium here. So
2017.
Royce, your thoughts on the week? I know you've been quiet, shaking your head there.
I mean, Vegas just took care of business. That's what needed to be done there. I was a little. We need to clarify what the USL rules are for a rainout or a lightning or a weather delay, because the last time that it happened was in 2019, and
Yes.
the rule was if you end the game anytime, or if the game has to be delayed or stopped at any time before the 90th minute, or the game is technically over, and
but I
and
thought
you can't restart it
where...
within 6 hours. Then you have to replay the full match at a later date. That's what the rule was.
But I also thought they've changed it to where if it's after
that's what I mean.
70 minutes.
I don't know. I did not see any evidence of them changing the rule. The last thing that I saw on that rule was from 2019. Correct. It was a Pittsburgh Riverhounds article, and they said this year they just changed the rule to say this, and that's Pittsburgh got screwed out of a win. Well, they were up in like the 80th minute to 2-1. They got wiped out, and they ended up losing 1-0. So, and they missed out on the playoffs because of that result. I will say, Gamez, step your game up. If your arms are tired after one game, come on, man, what are you doing? But no, took care of business in Vegas. That's what we needed to do. And then coming back against Los Dos, like you said, Harry, they're in the upper part of the table in the Western Conference. They're not, and it's the Western Conference. It's not like it's an Eastern Conference team. Yes, I mean that 100%. It's a Western Conference team. They're good. They have decent players. I mean, Doyle is leading the league in clearances, and he has for a while now. Yeah. And you saw that he was clearing everything except for one very important, completely missed clearance that I was very happy about at the end of the match. But they're a decent team. They're decently put together. They have some really young forwards that are really good, that if they don't get their shot with LA Galaxy, they need to be looking at a USL team, because they could make some decent money doing that, because that team is probably going to go to MLS next or whatever.
That'll be determined, because they're kind of like an RGV setup,
right?
Along those lines. So it's not technically a 2-team, because they played Open Cup. Well, I guess it's more like Reno setup, not RGV, because they did play
exactly.
Open Cup.
Exactly.
But let's get into the highlights here for her, because I want to try to breeze through the lights match here as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of stuff to talk about LA.
The first thing is no lights, and then lights. So that's the preview, and then go ahead.
It's the irony of it all.
Oh, this camera angle. Oh God, I gotta remember this now.
And then the fake drumming.
It's paid drumming. You got paid people waving flags.
No, it wasn't even that. The crowd noise was just pumped in. Like, it was the same noise, and it just repeated itself after 5 minutes.
Yeah, like in the last moments, it's still as loud. You know, everyone's at home.
And then the
2 delays, 3 delays, it's not that loud.
I didn't understand it.
Lucky there.
Yeah. It's a hell of a save.
But the goalpost has been the USL Player of the Week the last 2 weeks.
Feeds it forward. That's good. Distribution is off the post.
And again off the post. That's what, 2 matches in a row. There was El Paso and in Vegas. We just kept hitting the damn post.
Has in his box. Here's the delivery towards the near post. Flicked on and in. Wonderfully done there from Dylan.
Back heel. Dirty.
Abdul Salam
Absolutely
is celebrating.
dirty.
It might be his But some
Big goal
trickery
from
at the
Saad.
near post. Well taken set piece goal. And Alan Marcina celebrating with Saad Abdul Salam. San Antonio in front in Vegas.
Ball coming in.
But no, the crowd noise it was the same clip of noise every 5 minutes. And I was wondering, watching this match the whole time, why the crowd kept cheering when the ball wasn't even in play. And I was like, oh wait. And so then I listened for it. And by about the 70th minute, I was doing the horns as it went. And then I knew when the crowd was going to cheer. So then I went, whoa. And my kid sitting next to me like, what are you doing? Are you insane? So, but that was annoying, but it was just annoying. And the part that I didn't enjoy during the weather break, but after the weather break, they stopped doing that. They let go of the pumped in audio, and you actually heard the players. That's all I wanted to hear. And it kind of reminded me, it's going to sound like I'm making fun of Vegas, but it kind of reminded me of the pandemic games where you just hear everything going on the field, all the communicate. I love that. I love to hear that. I love to hear how they communicate with each other. But the one comment I will make about this game, except 3 points, job done, let's go. The color and the play-by-play guy for Vegas, probably two of the best besides Watts and Kerr. I like them a lot. They were knowledgeable. They got the lineup and the formation right, which never happens. And they knew what they were talking about. They had really good facts. They were interesting. They didn't do play-by-play of the game, and they get all
start screaming.
They were great. They were great. I like them. And if, like everybody thinks is going to happen, Vegas goes MLS next, I'd like to see them go to a good team. That production crew, really good, and a UL team. ESPN Plus would do good by them to have them go to other games. And if Watts and Kerr can't be at a game of the week, have those two. They're great. Like
any thoughts on the goal from anybody before we move on?
Saad's goal, sick. Adeniran's goal, if the goalkeeper gets a hand to it, he doesn't have a hand anymore. So
Adeniran's goal, it seemed like frustration. He's like, I'm tired of hitting the post. I'm gonna.
Oh, he missed. No,
he was like angry.
Oh, here's
like
the goal here.
He missed chance
on here. Little cheeky play there.
Yeah, he missed chance
all by himself too. Just shot.
Yeah, Sam missed chance after chance, and he just got frustrated. Oh, man.
That one, if he shoots it with the right, that's in.
Yeah.
And I think they made a comment about that he needed to use more of his right foot to kind of bury those shots.
Delivery to the back post, nearly there for Jennings.
His right foot's his weaker foot. He doesn't trust it. He's very left-footed, so that's kind of the problem.
And of course, this video is courtesy of USL Championship, YouTube, ESPN Plus.
That's an angry strike.
Yeah, and there's Yosemite Sam just putting that away. Just an absolute bullet.
Good night.
Absolute bullet.
Start to the match, but he puts that to bed. Sam Adeniran, his fifth in just 8 appearances on load.
Just a foot race here. One extra touch, boom, hits it underneath the crossbar. Great finish right here.
And you hit it so hard, the ball got stuck for a moment, right?
San Antonio FC, well, it's 10th game away from home. It's 6th consecutive.
And actual time between that goal and that final whistle, it wasn't just 30 minutes. It was like an hour and 30 minutes because of a weather delay. So that's why you don't see anyone in the stands. Like I said, you could hear all the crowd noise. The noise on the field. That was my favorite part of the match, was staying up, waiting for them to resume, and then they stopped pumping in the music. They just had you can hear the sounds on the field and that production crew. The last 10 minutes was much more enjoyable, even though the goals happened in the first 80 minutes. The last 10 or 15 minutes was the most enjoyable part for me.
So stats from the game: Vegas 61% possession, SAFC 39. We still outshot them, 19 total shots to 12. We had more on frame, 4-2. 7-5 corner kicks to them, 6-11 in fouls. We did pick up 4 yellow cards, so we're starting to pick up quite a few cards now, and that's going to become an issue possibly this week with PC. We had 4 big chances. We missed 3 of them. We hit the woodwork twice. we did shoot the ball 5 times outside the box, which is a little bit outside of our norm. Clearances, we only had 14. They had 20. We had 20 interceptions and even on tackles. So, to me, it was a convincing win. I don't think there was any way you could say otherwise in regards to that. Any other final thoughts on Vegas before we move to
the big thing I want to call out is like 10 road wins. That is the
Mhm.
most ever. Like, and winning on the road in the USL is just nuts. And to win 10, I was looking at the averages. It's like we average maybe like 5 or 6 a year at the most.
Mhm.
And then to win 10 already, wow.
Yeah, they've already broken the SAFC record for road wins, and they're going for the best record on the road, period, of any USL team ever. And they're still on pace for the best record of all time. So
wild.
insane. It's
And,
insane. It's wild.
Stats from Nicholas Murray. Most away wins in a championship in USL championship regular season. 2016, the Red Bulls 2, which is kind of shocking thinking of Red Bulls now. They had 13 with because they got 10. So with the next one, if they win again, they'll tie for second. Phoenix Rising in 2019, where they had that long streak. FC Cincinnati in the year that they crushed USL Championship, despite not winning a playoff game. And in 2016, Louisville City, which I think they won the title that year, if memory serves me correct as well. So San Antonio will be in fine company in order to, if they're able to pull it off. However, and we'll get to it when Alan Underwood joins to us. Going to San Diego will be a tough test here, but we got LA before then. I'm going to do the video, and then we'll kind of go down because, in my opinion, I don't know if it's by design or not, USL Championship did not really show the highlights of the game. But,
I think they were embarrassed by the officiating. That's why.
I don't know if you guys watched the highlights, but it's
there's not much to it. In the first half, there's a few, and then after that, it was like maybe after the 60th minute or so, it got pretty intense. But it was pretty weak. Boo!
Boo!
I know, right? Boo!
Yeah, the photographer took one right in the camera.
I think if he hits that one a little bit higher, that's in the net.
But it's almost like they were packing the back.
No, I mean that's how
they were parked way back, in the first 15 minutes.
At a very low line, and they wanted SAFC to try to break them down. Which
that's why they were selling for outside shots. So there's tons of them.
This was a sneaky shot.
There was no width outright. Made it hard on KC to find an option.
There's the aforementioned Perez, who's got some wheels moving inside the box and play it off the goal. And
see, if he plays that back to the top, that's the goal. Never read it.
He was in a dogfight at Southwest University Park last Saturday.
And this is where I don't like the highlights here.
He took a cheeky goal from Santiago.
That dude was like,
it's not on the top of the.
This was a hell of a goal. I'll give it to.
Watch Garcia duck. Garcia ducks, unfortunately. I watched it. He ducks it. Watch.
Should have been saved. It's through Far's hands.
No, but like, watch Garcia. He ducks on the wall. I watched it and I couldn't believe it. It's like a human reaction.
He doesn't want to deflect it. He doesn't want to deflect it. And he wants to give Far a chance to save it. It's in the middle of the goal. It's got to be saved.
But if you watch Jordan's movement on there, he's trying to catch it. Look, watch right here. If you can watch.
He didn't because he's right here, right?
Yeah.
Watch him duck though. It kind of like I was surprised.
No, he got off to a late start.
There's a space right there. You can see that gap right there. He just left that gap there, and if he closes that gap, that ball's blocked.
But he's also way late in jumping too, compared to like Tainer.
But he shot the ball in between them right there. But Jordan, I think he reacted a little late, and he tried to catch it. But if you see if he tried to palm it, if he punches it out,
If he punches
he makes that
If he
save.
punches it, it's a save. Exactly. He tries to catch it.
What about the force of the shot? You think that's why he went with trying to palm
for
it?
sure. Yeah, no, it did. Like,
No, that's why you should punch it.
Yeah, there's really no way for him to catch that. He should have just. You can see it right here. If you stop it, like right there, if he's got his fist out, he's gonna clear that out. Or it'll hit.
But
off
if it's
the
hitting
bar.
his fingertips, if he makes a fist, does he get to it though? That's my only
Yeah, I think he
counter
does.
to you. I'm not
I
a
think he
goalie.
does.
That would be for you and Robert.
He gets to that, he'll punch that out. Like when he tries to catch it, just the force of the ball, it's gonna go through. It's gonna go through his fingertips.
yeah, that's a tough one
See?
though. That's a tough one though. That was a wonder shot.
But he was,
It
if you
it was-
notice, he was
good.
like a second late on the reaction. And if he was going to be late, he had a kind of, like I said, he really needed to punch that ball out because let's say he punches it, hits the crossbar, stays in, and we clear it out. I think that was maybe the one mistake he made is trying to catch it, but he reacted late. But if you notice the wall, it opened up a little gap, and I think that gave him that hesitated him. Had they closed the gap, the ball's blocked on that play.
And I will say about the wall, concerning Garcia, you never want to jump because and they didn't have anybody laying down. That's a new thing to have somebody laying down behind the wall.
Maloney wasn't on there.
Exactly. I was surprised nobody laid down to let the wall jump. That's what I was surprised at.
Let's talk about Garcia here. Hold on. And we'll come back for the other one here. Let's see. I think it's this here.
I mean, it's tough to fault him because he's such a beast. Like, it's like, but it's like, like, okay, like that's why I pulled back. Like, I can't retract the criticism because it's like, dude, he literally is a clearance monster, a defensive monster.
Mm-hmm.
In Hayden and was it Ward?
Weiss.
Dan Weiss.
Dan Weiss. Yeah.
Kind of called out Tainer for I think this is it.
Heavy on that touch, however.
Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. Yeah, here we go. It's here. I think this is the setup here for it. Yeah, here it is. So this is what led to the kick here.
It was a softish foul. It was a softish foul. That was a softish foul. I saw that.
It's very soft, but that's what the ref was doing. He was calling stuff that shouldn't have been a foul. That's what he did all game, and it was the ref's real poor decision that led to the free kick. That's not a foul. Like the dude, the guy stops his feet. It's not. He didn't get
there. You go.
Goes over.
Yeah, they made it sound like he was like, oh, it's a late challenge.
And the guy from LA runs into.
Yeah,
exactly.
He creates a contact.
But they call that all the time. That's the issue. They give the advantage to the.
No, they don't. It's not a foul. It's not a foul.
That should have never been a foul because he's running into.
The player jumps in the air and then runs into. After he loses the ball, he jumps in the air and runs into Garcia. It's never a foul. If anything, it's a foul in LA for trying to create the contact. Garcia has no. He's not even trying to make any sort of contact with that. That is all on the the offensive player. Never a foul, and it's just another poor call from the ref. That's what you saw over and over from this ref was yellow card, red card, SAFC. I mean, the Shannon Gomez block, all ball. He was nowhere near the player, and he gave him a yellow card for it. He wasn't even close. Shannon got the ball, came around, and was already heading upfield, and he called him back for a yellow card. And Shannon's like, "What are you talking about? It wasn't even close, dude. The ball 10 yards ahead of himself. I took it. He goes over for no reason, and you give me a yellow card. And that was a microcosm of the ref. He had a really poor game. He had bad decisions, and the decisions that he did make. Well, I mean, he made bad decisions, and the decisions he decided not to make were the worst fouls of all. Like Saldana choking. Was it PC that he had his hands around?
PC.
Yes.
Without a call, went straight Yuma. Very poor officiating.
Well, we're going to get into that situation here, after here. Here's the goal here for it here. So
Oh, this is unbelievable.
Serves this one inside the area, slips in, put in on the header. Shannon Gomez.
I just couldn't believe it was his first goal in the
First
whole year ever.
yeah,
I was
first
like, I
professional
didn't.
goal.
Considering I watched him with TNT, he was like he scored and he had a sit. Like he
Well
looked
done from
offensively
Shannon
creative.
Gomez.
And here I
He
was like,
didn't-
when they said it was
he
his first
continued
goal in the
his
USL, I
run
was
on.
like, I couldn't believe it.
what a ball by Garcia, though.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It's a great ball, and it's also Liam Doyle doing
Thank
what
you,
we
Doyle.
know Liam
Yeah.
Doyle
Doyle.
can do when he checks out for a play, and that's what he did against RGV last season. It's what he did against us this season. He just checks out for one play, and hey, there's the game.
San Antonio FC earns a
Unbelievable.
That is why I say this week's highlights is poor, because they missed a very pivotal.
Yeah.
Through here. So before we get into the Patino and even the fans miss here, which there's not a lot to cover, at least from viewing wise.
Yeah, there's no footage of it except for they got footage of Maloney going between and playing peacekeeper. But that's about it.
Yeah.
But if it was somebody else, we would call them out. So want to make
For
sure
sure.
that we're fair to our fan. We hold our fans accountable as well here.
Exactly. I will say there were a couple people that threw cups and cans on the field. That's never okay.
No, it's
Never okay. Boo all you want, and it was completely justified. It was poor. Don't throw crap on the field. That's going to hurt somebody. Don't do that.
Yeah, we should be better than that. But
Should be better.
so here's how the game almost ended.
No, please don't show me that. You're gonna torture me with this
Oh,
again.
man.
I've seen this like 5 times.
Maloney's in alone. Great save from
Yeah,
Lopez.
it was a heck of a save. That was a hell of a save, and it almost still scored it in.
So here's the problem with you. Say if he goes down, it's outside the box. So
Yeah.
I think he took the advantage.
I think
There.
Bailoni played it properly, and he had the window he wanted. He's in a dead sprint, and he just slightly mispicked it. And
You know, I think he might have missed it. If you notice, right, if you go back a little bit,
he Travellas it with his left foot.
right before he takes a shot, he goes low. He could have chipped it over. Like, watch the ball bounce.
Oh yeah, like a chip. Yeah,
You see, if he chips it over him, it's in. So the goalie's in great position to stop a low shot, but
Yeah.
he's giving so much space right there. So if he chips it over him, it's in the net.
But that's
hindsight's
But it's just
2020.
the momentum.
It's tough. It's hindsight.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hindsight's
it's tough.
2020. I will say hindsight's 2020, and that goalkeeper looked very, very suspect on low shots. He
I
did not
I
see
got to
them.
give it up to Matt and CJ.
Yeah.
Matt, I looked up the ref a lot of bad reviews. CJ is the ref on Yelp.
but the
Go
goalkeeper
ahead,
was
Royce.
goalkeeper's not comfortable going laterally to the corners, and that's where Bailoni tried to put that away. That shot that Adeniran had, that it almost scored it in at like 2 miles an hour. Like, he wasn't comfortable. So the right thing was to go low. He made the one good save he made, he had to make, and that's it. So
And he couldn't, for Nacho, who there wasn't enough time for him to take another touch, right? That was the shot.
because the goalkeeper is going to block the angle after that. He's going to go.
And he got it right on the bounce. That's when you want to hit it.
Yeah,
right on the bounce.
exactly.
You don't want to take an extra touch.
Exactly. So it is what it is. It was a great chance created. We just couldn't put it away.
And he stole Far's assist. Can you imagine, like, goal of the week and it's Far with the assist
Yeah.
after all the saves of the week?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And still not goalkeeper of the first half of the season. Yeah, that's
let's talk about the slight.
so dumb. Such a snub of the millennium.
Oh God, it's terrible.
So there we have a fifth now, Mr. Alan Underwood, who you've probably seen everywhere. Formerly host of Fairweather Podcasts. I think it's on hiatus, or kind of the USL version.
Said it's on hiatus, like OKC is on hiatus.
Oh, buddy. Oh, but that's a
Gosh.
Way
Way
to
come in hot.
yeah. Congrats on getting Hater out of my division. Thank you so much.
But you can catch him on Orange and Black Soccer Cast, covering kind of OC with the loyal slant to it. The USL show, he's a regular contributor to that, and Two Balls on a Mic. He goes on there and talks loyal, and Two Balls on a Mic's a great show on its own. For that here. Thank you, Alan. We're getting ready to discuss the fun time in the 58th minute between San Antonio and Los Dos.
I believe it's the Dos Acero Bowl. So there you go.
So Loyal, I went to bed after the match. They were losing 2-1, and then when I woke up, I was disappointed to find that they came back and won 3-2 with 2 goals and the past the 80th minute, if I'm correct on that here. So
yeah, Evan Conway has a penchant for doing that. Apparently, I think it was one of the stats that came out was Evan Conway has scored in the 80th minute 3 times for the Loyal, and all 3 times it's been a 3-2 victory, and he scored the winning goal. Yeah, so that was a fun one. Maybe not as many fireworks as the San Antonio match, but still pretty fun.
This was so I wasn't at the stadium because I had a flat tire, and I went home, cleaned up, and said, "Hey, I'm calling it a day after that." But just from the interactions and unfortunately how our fans acted, Royce and Robert and Rafa were there. It was a spirited match,
Yes.
but it's kind of funny because San Antonio and LA typically put on a good show. I know, like, San Antonio's highest attended matches tend to be the Galaxy matches. Now, I don't think that happened this year along those lines here, but let's get into, as Phil from Seriously Loco says, the shithousery of the match here.
None here in the month of July as we.
And, of course, this is from YouTube USL Championship on here, so.
And ESPN Plus.
Oh, God. Coutinho went in hot.
PC.
And then hand her on the throat with no call.
This is where he looks for Gomez afterwards. He pushes Tainer, hand on the throat.
Yep.
Yeah, he looks for Gomez, and Gomez pushes his hand off.
That would certainly change things in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, how's that not? What are we doing here?
And that's in front of the.
He's trying to baby.
That's right. Oh, that linesman did not want to call anything. That linesman was a waste of space.
Needs to be determined.
Sideline refs and the 4th official.
That's me like to see the center official usually get made fun of for backing away, like they're scared of the fight. But you want to see them back away to get a view of everything that's happening.
To see everything. That's right. To see everything that's happening. Exactly.
I think he gets too caught up in the middle of the scrum.
And then elbow to the side of the face. Like, what are we doing? And a step on. And a stomp.
So what is what's his name here?
Harvey.
That's Harvey. 27 was Harvey. He deserved.
Is that a red
who
card
deserved
for
4
what
yellows?
He did to Patino with the action to the hand to the face there.
Maybe not that right there, but accumulation of what he did. If you saw the first half, it was like over.
He should have already 2 yellow cards.
So,
dude, he was doing it over.
In the first half, he kicked a free kick away, almost out of the stadium, and the ref gave him the no more. And then he had a tackle on Patino, another one from behind that the ref just called a foul.
Bad, yeah.
And everyone's like, "You said no more." Obviously it's on the other side of the stadium from us in the bunker, but we're like, "You said no more to that guy, and you're gonna let another yellow card offense go? That's 2 yellow cards he should have gotten." And then this happened, and he gets his first yellow card. And then pretty much right after this, he got he didn't get subbed out.
No, Saldana did.
Yeah, Saldana did, because Saldana was For some reason, Saldana didn't get anything except for a yellow card at the very end, and then that's when their coach was like, "Yeah, you need to get off because you deserved at least one red."
He
Right there is where he went.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Hand to throat. I mean, clear hand to
trying to
throat.
break it up.
Right here.
Yep. No, he did.
Hands on his throat.
So
right there.
it's right there. It's in PC after this incident has a scratch along his neck.
We saw him after the match, and he has a red mark. He had a nice bloody red mark on his neck from that.
So in the fourth referee's here. So I understand the head referee's dealing with Harvey, trying to separate that. The fourth and the AR on that side should have been watching behind the scenes. Obviously, I don't know. It just
waste of space. That's it.
And then he pushes Maloney, and then he pushes Tainer.
Oh, he's just going.
He's running around looking for the card, and that's why he mocked. He was like, "Oh, I got my success."
That's why he's clapping, because he's like, "Hey, I got it for that other guy when I deserved it." Yeah,
like
it was awesome.
baiting him. He was looking for that, and Santi reacted.
And even now, even more happens because he starts pushing people around here. Here we go.
And I think here's where Patino gets his.
Well, no, that's after the fact.
Oh, that's after.
Yeah, they're like barking back and forth, and it already had happened.
Yeah, you have to assume he said one of the.
No, he actually.
So
if you watch it, you can see him slide off right here. Is it right there?
He did indeed. Saldana into the books as well too.
I want to know what he's saying though.
Pretty much why Patino apparently got the red was for hand to face. He apparently slapped Saldana for getting in his face, just like he's doing that. So that's why he got the red. But Saldana,
I think here's where it's at here.
Saldana should have gotten
right there. Right there is when he moves over. That's when he puts the hand to the face. So
he's like, "Hey ref, hey ref, hey ref, hey ref." He's like, "Dad, Dad."
Exactly.
Yeah,
because he's a child. Saldana's a child. That's the problem.
So to be fair, Patino's an instigator, just like Saldana.
That's fair.
We got to call it what it
is.
He's
our instigator. No, I'm joking.
Pardon me?
I said, but he's our instigator.
Yes, he's our Yuma. We'll leave it at that.
he's our Steve Ott. He's our
do not call him Yuma.
Stefan Robida for you hockey fans out there.
Take that back. Take Yuma back. Don't call
him Yuma. That's true. No, but Yuma's on a completely different level.
Yeah. Screw that.
He's our Tommy Pham. There you go, Ryan. He's our Tommy Pham. There you go.
There you go.
But stats from the LA match here. And I did take a pop shot at at San Diego, which
the final score was Los Dos 1, San Antonio FC 1, missed clearances by Liam Doyle 1, and missed red cards and yellow cards for Los Dos 10. So that ended up winning. Congrats to the ref for winning that match.
So, So actually, San Antonio outshot LA 10-7. For possession wise, was 55-45, which for San Antonio, that's a lot of possession. Let's see here. We had 15 fouls. They only had 5. 4 yellow cards apiece. We had the 1 red card. 2 big chances, 1 missed. They didn't have any big chances. Clearances, this is what you were talking about here, 31 for Los Dos, and I bet you Doyle had majority of those. We had 16 tackles, 12 interceptions. I won't lie to you, it was a game that I think if San Antonio gets that goal early, they go comfortably.
Sure.
I think with the red card, that changed the dynamics a little bit, and then they, I still think it was a hell of a kick that they scored on. I know, maybe, we can kind of nitpick Garcia and Farr, whether they could have or should have or would have. The point is the guy put it on frame, in a decent shot. But Your thoughts before we turn to 1 versus 2 in the West? We'll go with you, Rafa. You've been quiet for a while.
Just I know USL needs to look at that referee. I think they need to retest him for his certification.
And it's not just from this game. There's multiple games.
Yeah, it's not. This wasn't the first time. So from what we've read,
Alan
I think
is not a fan of certain referees as well.
They need to look through his social media to see who he's liked in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know. There could be something to that.
Got him.
But
Got him.
it's just unbearable what he did. Is like he just wanted to have full control of that game, like he wanted to have control of the outcome. He said he could have let the players play, but still manage it correctly, and he really mismanaged, especially a lot of the missed calls that were obvious. Especially like some of the yellow cards and so forth. And I think USL really kind of needs to look into. Okay, you're already getting bad ratings from other games. We need to sit down with you, or we can send you out of League One or something. You can do that mess, or go to the Sunday League.
He can go to Nisa.
But here, I think you're going to see improvements because this year, for NWSL and USL, the referees are going to be allowed to unionize for it here. So you're hopefully going to see more consistent, more referees held accountable. For bad calls and stuff like that. For instance, what happened in the Loyal match, and we've had a couple of them where they went back the Loyal match from a couple of games ago. What was the one against LA, right? That you guys had that red card.
It was against Los Dos and the red card that shouldn't have been. Yeah.
That was terrible.
So it seems like LA is getting the advantage of the red cards.
No way. Gee, that happens in MLS too. How about that?
Yeah, go figure.
No, but I guess Rafa, I'll take over from you for the final thought. Really bad officiating. Los Dos really had that really low line, and they made us break them down, and they played that low line pretty well. That was the best defense that we've seen. And at the same rate, good on Los Dos for playing the ref. I mean, they played the conditions they needed to. They were jumping into us and creating fouls, and they took advantage of that ref just being bad, but also good on SAFC for not giving up and just showing that resiliency they always talk about. You can talk the talk, well, you got to walk the walk too, and they walk the walk. They show that resiliency, and with Fabian's delivery to Shannon on the back post, I mean, that's never giving up, and then having a chance to win it and being about 6 inches away from winning it. You can't ask for more than that. Just that comeback and for being down a player for almost 40 minutes, unbelievable performance.
Robert, any thoughts on you from Los Dos?
Piggybacking off Royce, like it's a character building tie. Like it's a situation where chips against we've been kind of talking about it. We need some situations where we have some adversity. There's been so much positive. I mean, not that you don't want to win constantly, but at the same time, you need these ties or these wins or situations where it just brings them closer and closer together, because it's not always going to be positive. Yeah, exactly. For situations where the ref's not on your side, calls aren't going your way, are you going to give up? Or are you going to fight? So to me, it was A pluses all around considering the circumstances. I was massively impressed with the team.
Alan, I don't know how much you watched the match or anything. So first question is thoughts on San Antonio Los Dos, or just San Antonio heading into the big match this week against Loyal. And then second question here, tell us what's changed with Loyal. They seem to be a lot more physical this year. Dare I say they play a little bit more like San Antonio after Landon Donovan's comments last year?
Yeah, so overall thoughts of San Antonio. I know I've said this to several people who have inquired. San Antonio probably doesn't get as much love as they probably should from the league office and from fans, because they just play, I wouldn't say it's sexy football. It's just they know exactly where their strength is. They have an amazing keeper. Their back line is phenomenal. They just play defense, and then they just beat the snot out of you. And they do have some offensive firepower. I was watching a little bit of the Los Dos game back today. But there's just something kind of I don't want to say like terrifying, but there's something intimidating about San Antonio's defense that I think gives them an edge over teams that come in and feel like we have to play perfect to get something out of this. And I think that mentality, we've seen that kind of growing at the end of last year into the playoffs. Obviously didn't go the way San Antonio wanted to go, but you're a few inches away here or there. It's not like San Antonio got blown out of the park. Orange County was just playing out of their minds. And I see a lot of that Orange County side in San Antonio this year, except just like a better version of it, if that makes sense. Like really solid defensively. So teams have to expend a ton of energy just to get a shot on goal. And then the teams are kind of exhausted, and San Antonio can beat them back and win some close games. I mean, their 15 goals allowed is just absolutely ridiculous. Their run of form has been amazing. So this is like on the calendar and the run in for San Diego. Like San Antonio is the one that I think San Diego fans would be the most leery of their run in. You get 2 against San Antonio, and it's like this could mean the difference between a home playoff match and not. These 2 games against San Antonio. San Diego wants to try and get that first playoff spot. They're going to have to win. So the pressure is on them for this match. And I think that there are a lot of people who are looking forward to this matchup, particularly how the last season ended. There is like a little bit of vengeance in the water. But I think this is going to be San Diego's toughest test, because San Diego does not play well against teams that say you have to like beat us because our defense is so good, right? They're used to playing a little bit more possession based, break teams down, get a goal, and then it opens up, and then they can run all over you. But San Antonio is not a team you can really run all over. They're kind of good front to back. What makes San Diego, to answer your second question, what makes San Diego different this year versus last year is essentially just kind of what's happening up top. Maybe a little bit weaker defensively. Josh Yarrow leaves for St. Louis to possibly get an MLS shot, and it's well deserved for him. I know you guys love Yarrow too. Like, I have nothing but mad respect for him.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, I don't think a USL team can replace a guy like Josh Yarrow and feel like, yeah, it's like for like. It's like almost like for like. And that's Kyle Adams. He's kind of been that guy this year.
Kyle. Kyle's good, though. Kyle to me is top 5, top 10, depending on where you rank center backs.
He's great in the air. He's great in the air. I think what gives Loyal a little bit of a different look is you have Elijah Martin, who's great at speed, but not necessarily the tallest guy. And then you're relying on either Adams or Stoneman. And you saw with the first Orange County goal is the way San Diego plays with this kind of like 3-back system. If you can counter quickly, you have some numerical advantages. And if you got a guy up top, like San Antonio has a few guys who can probably do this to them. It's one-on-one defending, and Stoneman's good, but he's not like amazing. You can get your chances. Kyle Vassell, who probably won't play. He's got a dislocated shoulder. So he probably won't play.
He won't play, not that he's hurt.
No.
But even with that, you got Thomas Among, who plays a very physical game. Like, he will go shoulder to shoulder and bump defenders off. Plays very, very aggressively. And you match that with Tumi Moshobani, Alejandro Guido, and Guido's playing really well because he's not having to shoulder a lot of the load. And then the kind of the fan favorite of new
Nick
people
Moon.
is Nick Moon.
Yeah, I was gonna about you. Yeah, he's creative.
He is so good on the ball, breaks guys down one-on-one. His detractor is same thing with Tumi Moshobani, is sometimes they don't pass the ball as often as they should, and Moon can get a little bit loose with the ball. So if you pressure him and he doesn't beat you, he can lose the ball in the offensive third. It's kind of one of his weaknesses, right? But if you leave him one-on-one, he's going to do some amazing things. And I think a lot of the I think that's the biggest difference, right? You got a super physical striker, and when Kyle Vassell and Thomas Among play together, like, they will run people over. And I think that's, Harry, what you were talking about. It's just a more aggressively offensive unit, and like physically aggressive, not just like tactically aggressive. So I think that's the biggest issue. So they can get
But also card wise, though, that's where, because I know And I know we blew what Landon Donovan said out of the water just because it was against us. Don't get me wrong. We took it and ran with it. But card-wise, they're a lot closer. I want to say maybe even only a couple apart, if memory serves me right, as far as yellow cards, fouls-wise. I know they're relatively close.
Because of last game, it brought the totals closer. The last few games, we've accumulated more than typical. I did see that. Yeah, that they've been creeping up. We were like in the mid, and I was excited, but all of a sudden,
But we're also playing tough. No offense to Tulsa, Atlanta United 2, and Charleston. So the competition kind of did raise a little bit, playing out west. Royce, any questions that you have? I know you and Rafa and are kind of tacticians. Questions that you have for, in my opinion, Mr. San Diego.
Yeah, I guess just what's the philosophy for the midfield for San Diego? I know last year y'all were missing out on a 10 when we played y'all in the playoffs, so they tried to switch around some stuff. And they just had that hole in the midfield and they never connected anything, which is why we kind of dominated in the playoff match. You couldn't really get anything started. There was that one counter on the left wing that Jordan Farr saved, but that's pretty much all that was generated by San Diego. They tried to go, attack through the wings. They didn't try to cross anything, which was interesting because you had a tall number 9 last year. That kind of baffled me. But just what's the general what's a general play? Is it more defensive midfield? Is it more offensive? Is it more try to be creative? And do y'all utilize the wings more, or do y'all try to attack directly more?
I think there's less crosses this year, but they do try to play out of the wings. They've had depends on how they set up. Sometimes it's like a 4-4-2 with the right wing back playing up high, like they did last year. And sometimes it's a legit 3-man back line, and you got Nick Moon playing on kind of one wing backy role and Jack Blake on the other wing backy role. And then you had Charlie Adams and Colin Martin kind of playing a double pivot last year. And really, this year it's a little bit different where Martin is playing for a little bit further back, and Adams is trying to get a little bit further forward to try and get a little bit more of that verticality. And then kind of depending on who the strikers are playing at the time, it kind of depends, right? Among and Vassell are a little bit more target men. Vassell more of a connecting player as well. Among likes to play on the edge of the back line. But really kind of Toomey and Guido almost playing like a double 10. It's kind of an interesting, kind of a weird setup where in defense, if you're doing a 4-4-2, you got Blake and like Nick Moon playing wingers. But in the offense, Blake can come in, and then that allows Guido and Tumi Moshobani to push a little bit higher. It's a
so like in a 4-3-3 pretty much. Like
4-3-3
in defense, and then push up to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 pretty much in offense.
I liken it more to like not necessarily shape, but more like what your job description is, if that makes sense. Like,
which is it's very much what SAFC does, except SAFC is very much a pressing. They are high pressure all the time. The SAFC kind of plays like a Liverpool, where they would rather give you the ball at in front of your box, and then work to steal it from you and then counter. That's what they would rather do than actually possess and create a goal. They would rather. It's the gegenpress. I know that was one of those buzzwords, like the what did Daisuke Matsuzaka throw supposedly with the Red Sox when he came from Japan? The gyro ball. Ooh, is that the gyro ball? Yeah. Is that the gyro ball? No, dude. A gyro ball is a hanging slider. That's all it is. It's a ball that goes straight that has spin. It's a hanging slider. It's a backup slider.
San Diego does like to press as well. They like to be aggressive. In their third to put people under pressure and win the ball back high and then attack very vertically, which I think is something we didn't see a whole lot last year as much. It was a little bit more patient build up. They want to be more vertical this year, which I think is a result of the players they have on the pitch. It makes me nervous every time they sit back and defend. They do it okay, but it's not like their preferred, which makes me which makes me watching that Los Dos game. I'm like, I'm going to be nervous this entire game because
Yeah.
I think San Antonio is going to get a good run of play. Like if you go back and watch, I think it was RGV against San Diego. RGV had a good amount of the ball at times. And really pin San Diego in, and that's when you really can get something out of them because they don't like to sit back and defend. They can. It's just not like where they want to live.
We'll see if that's where they go, because I will say this: San Antonio FC's lost twice, and that twice to Phoenix. And the reason that Phoenix won those two matches was because they sat back. And we try to break them down, and they countered really well. What is the one thing they have not done for the rest of the season, except for this past week? They have been trying to go forward and create offense and all that crap, and that's why they loaned out Epps, because he wasn't effective. Epps is effective on a break. Like, that's why he was effective against SAFC when he scored whenever we played him. He's effective on a break. Like, for Chance not to see that, I don't know.
Sacramento too. We lost that Sacramento. They set back.
Exactly, that's what I mean. And they just beat Colorado Springs 4-0 because they sat back and they countered on Colorado Springs. Like, that's, if Phoenix were to do that, they would be in a playoff position, but they don't. Chance has this, I don't understand what's going on, but he wants to possess. He wants to do this, high octane offense. It's not for them. They leave themselves open. And if San Diego leaves themselves open and they can't sit back and counter, could be a long night for y'all. So, but we'll see.
Rafa, any questions or your thoughts on Loyal versus San Antonio?
I just wanted to ask, any particular player that we have on our roster you're concerned about going into this game?
I was peeping out. Idineron. Like, I was watching him that Los Dos game. I'm like,
he's a
damn,
bad man. He's a bad man.
Monster.
Like, I think he had 2 looks early on that the Los Dos keeper saved. I think if that's San Diego, I think one of those goes in. Like, to be like, I was like, oh, it's been the Achilles heel, right? Milanowski, Preston Judd, like these guys who can put their team on their shoulders and kind of create their own space. Those are really, Trejo was another one. Cal Jennings, like San Diego just has a tough time with those type of players. Like wingers, not so much. Like if it's a guy like Solomon Asante has never done anything against Loyal, never. Like those type of players, the wing players don't really give Loyal a hard time. But as soon as they like float inside, like Milanowski likes to do, like Preston Judd, like Trejo, like it gets a little bit scary. And so I was watching that game and I'm like, man, Idineron might have a really nice game this game. And the other one was obviously Jordan Farr, right? Like this is the other Achilles heel of San Diego is they played Las Vegas and Romero had the game of his life. And it's what like Loyal just couldn't score. They couldn't break him down. They couldn't score. And then they're pushing forward more and more and more. And then that opens them up at the back end for a guy like Idineron to punish him. So I think those are the 2 ends that really kind of put me on pause about the San Antonio team. And I mean, you can probably list like 5-6 guys on this roster, but I think those are the 2 that are really kind of going to be the keys. Can Idineron put in a goal or 2? And, is Farr going to stand on his head like he seems to do week in and week out?
Robert, any questions that you have for Alan? And then I have one that'll be kind of supposedly there are 2 San Antonio fans that will be making the trip via San Antonio FC. But if San Antonio does have,
I guess I didn't win.
I didn't win the contest. I was like waiting for that.
Just to fill you in real quick, Alan, San Antonio FC had a contest to where it's a sweepstakes, so you signed up, and it was 2 limousine rides from your house to the San Antonio airport, flights to San Diego, tickets to the game, hotel, and then flights back in a limo back to your house. We don't know who won, so it's kind of the running gag. Obviously, we don't know all of the San Antonio FC fans or whoever signed up, but we didn't win. So in our mind,
nobody won.
I put in for that, but I realized the limousine ride from here to the San Antonio airport would be one hell of a ride. So
that'd be awesome.
Hey, you might have won, SAFC, but like, hey, there's a guy locally there. Hey, But Robert, any questions that you have before I ask kind of game day at was it Torero Stadium there for the Loyal?
My biggest thing is like keeper related or defense related, like 36 goals given up. Like, what does that stem from? Is it like lapse of like, is it keeper related defense? What's the system in the back? Like, why you conceded quite a few? I just want to know.
Yeah,
like,
well,
what do you think it is?
2 of those matches were 5-goal affairs, one against Louisville, one against LA, and that goalkeeper has mutually parted ways with the club. I really think it's just the defense isn't as strong as it was last year without Josh Yarrow. You're not going to
Sure.
recreate him. The people that they tried to bring in and try some guys out haven't quite fit that mold. I would say that they're better now than they were. I know the stats don't really show that, but it's been a little bit of an interesting journey, and I think some of it's been a little bit of bad luck, some of it's been a little bit of defensive breakdown, and it really is just like a couple of those moments where guys have brain farts and they've been punished. And in past years, maybe a goal goes off the crossbar, a goal goes off the post, or sails 15 feet above the goal. A little bit unlucky, a little bit of not as good, a little bit of brain fartiness. 10 goals in 2 matches really kind of inflates that number a little bit too.
Sure.
And then there's a couple teams out there that are like that. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it was necessarily an excuse. Their home form, 18 goals in 12 games, still not great, but probably better than their away record, 18 goals in 10 games. It doesn't look great, but you just hope they figure it out and they run into the playoffs, because San Diego's going to be a playoff team. It's just where they end up if they get a home one. And then if they play like this, they're not going to. It's either going to be a 3-3 shootout or.
I think San Diego finishes second, but to Robert's point, to me, the concerning point is they've only got 4 clean sheets. And
I stopped giving away free stuff for them, so we stopped playing.
Are you confident in Vargas? Are you confident in Vargas, like Kiki Vargas? How confident
I like so every time I watch him, he seems solid.
Yeah.
Like the announcers seem to like him, but
I like Vegas.
Vegas, sorry.
It's fine. I like that our announcer goes Vegas. I was like, well, it's Vegas. It's Spanish, please. No, it's he seems really confident and he seems really aggressive, which has saved Loyal quite a few times. I just think his defense has let him down. I don't like watch some of these goals, and it's not like he is going to get to any of them. They're just really well placed. The Milanolasky first goal is just like, what are you going to do? Like, it just splits. It's a perfectly placed goal. There's been a lot of those where it's just he's standing there, the cross comes in, it's a glancing header, and you're like, well, poop, that went in. There's maybe a couple moments where maybe he could have made a save, and I think he would be the first to admit it, but I don't think this is why like wins and losses for pitchers and goalkeepers and goals allowed, it's not the greatest stat. Like, I would like to see him perform a little bit better. I think there's a couple of saves he can make, but I think it really boils down to the guys in front of him. And I think San Antonio has the exact opposite, right? You have a super solid defensive unit and a really, really competent goalkeeper, and you see the difference between the two. And in this league, like in the West, that's the difference between like 18 and 32 goals. It's a slightly elevated back line, and I think a slightly elevated keeper. That's what's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I gave some quick stats for July for SAFC just to show how dominant their July is, and a little bit of evidence for Alan's point there. In the month of July, San Antonio FC scored 11 goals. Their opponents combined for 1 goal all month long. SAFC in the month of July, 22 shots on net. Opponents 7 the entire month. 7 minutes led, SAFC 237. Their opponents 3 the entire month, and they had a shutout streak of 500 minutes. Pretty good. But I will say, going into this match, it's very possible we're missing 2 players. We'll see where those suspensions are held up, and that's Patino, one of our top offensive players, and PC, one of our captain, our top midfielder, might be out for yellow card accumulation. We'll see. So that might be not ideal. We are a pretty deep team. but at the same time, you know, we'll see how that cookie crumbles. So we'll see. I don't know.
The loyal are deep too. Like that's the thing. Like I saw it, I noticed.
Yeah,
they're
Loyal's
deep. They like it's one of the few USL teams that deep off the bench.
That's why
that's the difference. Yeah.
That's why even though when Colorado Springs was in second
Yeah.
place, the team that worries me is Loyal. I don't worry about Colorado Springs. I don't worry about New Mexico. I think Rising and Sacramento are too far back. But San Diego is the one team that I think that can close the gap and put pressure on them. So 2 questions for you, Alan, and then if you need to run, we'll definitely get you out of here. One, San Antonio, San Diego. To me, with the playoffs, with the coaches, is it, fan wise there is, I know it's the top 2 teams, so it's going to draw, but, I'm not saying we're Phoenix by any means, but rivalry wise, is it starting to pick up between the 2 teams? Maybe not necessarily the fan bases yet. I think I'm probably the only one that really dislikes the Loyal, and Loyal rubs me wrong way. They always have. I don't know what it is. I've never
sure
been
it's
a
not
fan
the
of
coach.
Maybe it's
Might be the coach. I was a Deuce guy. I'm not a Landon guy.
No, after that video, yeah.
But
they want to play the right way.
But then,
winning way?
what is game day like? In San Diego. Obviously, I'm not making the trip this year, but that is on the bucket list to be able to go out and see. Number one, who doesn't like San Diego weather? Although this year might be a little bit warm, just with global warming. But historically, 80s, nice weather. Beach, SeaWorld. Although here might be a hot take. I think San Antonio SeaWorld's better than San Diego SeaWorld.
We're the only one that uses actual ocean water.
Oh, wow.
We have ocean water at Sonic.
There you go. Well played.
So
happy hour, half off.
It makes me want to go to Sonic now. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of history, right? Like I think that there's a desire to play well against San Antonio for 2 reasons, right? Putting out of the playoffs last year, and they're a really good team, right? I'm maybe not like a rivalry, but a game that's like super important. I think people realize how important this game is. It should be pretty well attended. It's going to be the out in the park night. We do Pride like for 3 months down here, apparently. Like June is Pride month, and then San Diego has their Pride parade in the middle of July, and now August is out of the park. So
nothing wrong with it.
No, I'm gonna get there early, get me that hat.
There you go.
It should be pretty well attended. Those night games are really nice. You get a nice ocean breeze. It's real. It gets a little bit damp on the pitch, so it's a really nice surface to play on when it's upkept well before USD football starts ripping it up. The ball moves really quick, which should make for a really fun match. Food options are great. Beer options are even better. You got Stone in the house throwing down some Buena Vesas. If you've never had those, they're like a salt lime Mexican lager that are dangerously close to water. The area is really nice that they play in right now. It's right up on the hill above the water, so you get a nice breeze that comes over. And there's some breweries right down the street that you can go to, grab a couple pints. The locals are always down there if they're not doing their tailgate. And yeah, the atmosphere is great. It's like right up on the pitch. So it feels like, I want to say cavernous. That's not the right word, but it's like the stands feel right over the players. So there is a really nice sense of intimacy for the match. I love watching football there. I just think it's a great venue. We'll see if they move to Snapdragon, which is a bigger stadium where SDSU is going to play, and see how that kind of works. But for right now, it's a great venue. Fans who show up, it's really easy in, really easy out. The players walk right out, and you can like give them high fives and stuff, both on the pitch and off the pitch, which is that interaction is fantastic. People line up to get autographs, high fives, cheer for Landon Donovan. I know Harry probably won't be doing that, but I mean, he literally just walks by, and you're just like. So it is a pretty special place to watch a match. It is very intimate. And then if you're in San Diego, you have pretty much, it's in a really nice place. It's not super transit oriented there. If they go to Snapdragon, it will be. So, maybe when they move there next season, there's a trolley stop that you can really easily get to. You can make it a full weekend because it is worth it to check out like Little Italy. Downtown's kind of a club scene. So if you're like a younger guy and you're looking to go and to go clubbing, you can go to downtown or PB is a little bit broy. If you got flat-billed hats and like monster drinks, you can go there. You can go down to Chula Vista and get yourself some delicious Tijuana style street tacos. Like there's pretty much everything you would want in San Diego.
You can go to Tijuana.
Go to
Tijuana.
That's somebody that did boot camp in San Diego in the Navy, and then when we had our little break off, I had a cousin that lived there, and even though we weren't supposed to go to Tijuana,
he did anyway.
You did anyway, and
the trolley
goes straight. Whole eye-opening experience from somebody from Western Colorado.
No, sir. Do not say it.
You can take the trolley straight down to the border and walk across. And if there's a Sunday game, you can go Loyal Saturday night and Sunday Cholos.
No, Cholos.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great place. Like I would encourage anyone who wants to come out to check it out.
And you got the Wave as well.
Yeah, Wave's playing really well.
The Padres.
Padres are.
So that was going to be my other question here, because you have a Cardinals fan in Royce, Padres fan with Alan. Both of you fighting for the wild card. You think both of you make it? And if you guys faced off, who wins?
Oh, we're going to win the division. I don't know what you're talking about. So apparently we're finalizing a trade for a starting left-handed pitcher from the Pirates. The Padres, like I said, from the beginning of the podcast, thank you, Alan, for taking Hader out of our division. That's going to really help us win the division. So, no, but also I don't know if you knew this or not, Alan, but San Antonio, we have the Missions in town, which is a double A baseball. It's a double A.
Fernando Tatis is supposed to be in town, or was in town, right?
No, he didn't rehab here. He rehabbed in El Paso.
Oh,
yeah, El Paso is a triple A. So
This is the difference between Cardinal fans and Padre fans. Cardinal fans are like overconfident, like they're going to win the World Series every year, and Padre fans are like, what's going to happen is we're going to be like 10 games up on the wild card with like 12 to go and still miss the playoffs.
The history is we're good. We have that history. We expect to be there, and if we don't, it's a disappointment. And the Padres are like, we just hope everybody has a good time.
Right.
It's the old Lewis Black joke. Yeah, it's the old Lewis Black joke where he says, what's the easiest job in the world? It's the weatherman in San Diego, California.
It's
baseball,
John. It's baseball,
nice.
bro.
Back to you. So,
I mean, it's exciting to go to Padre games now because they're pulling like 30, like high 30s, low 40s every game. We went to the wrong game this weekend and watched them lose like pretty bad to the Twins while I was watching San Diego Orange County on my phone.
Twins,
Nice.
buddy.
Nice.
They're in first place in their division. They took 2 out of 3. But like Fernando Tatis is coming back. I think that San Diego does give it a run. They're a really fun team to watch. The baseball, again, the stadium there is phenomenal. So if you come out during baseball season, do like a Saturday night soccer, Sunday day game. Make sure you sit on the third base side. That's usually where the shade is. The food there is great. The beer choices are great. You can go to Mission Brewing right beforehand. They open up their tasting room before every game. Go in there. They always have a $5 pint of the month. It's like great craft beer. And then you walk across the parking lot into the game. And so you can get a couple beers for $10 and then go into the stadium and get 1 beer for 14.
And I will say this.
Sounds like Austin. 14.
I will say this. My first professional baseball game was at the old Murph when the Braves played San Diego. For that here to this day, and that was what 18, 19, and I'm 50 now. I can still coming out, that first time you see the field and the stadium from inside, I still can picture that just like yesterday, and the smells. And so San Diego baseball, the Padres, like I said here, I always have a soft spot for them. Even being a Rockies fan, because growing up we didn't have the Rockies. And we still hate you, Royce, for making the Rockies pay to take our best player. But
Thank you. I'll always thank you for that. Real quick, how have you been to a Goals game, and how's a Goals game?
Goals games are fun. if they're playing well, it usually pulls a decent amount of folks into it. It's the arena is, we call it the Grand Old Arena because it's been there for a long time. Like you walk through and they're like, hey, Crosby, Stills, and Nash played here, Queen played here, or whatever, like Elton John, and it's like it's historical.
Nostalgia.
Jesus, Sermon on the Rock. Wow.
Yeah, it feels like it's the arena's like 30, 40 years old,
Nice.
but it's loud in there. Goals games are fun. Soccer's games are amazing.
Okay.
Indoor soccer. They're the only team in San Diego who's won a championship, and I think they're at 14 now. No, 15. I think they just won again.
That's San Diego's on a short list of places that I want to visit with the intent of
for sure.
moving there. Yeah. So
No, it's a must. Even with the kids at your the age of your kids, it's a great time. Even if you don't go to SeaWorld, just the safari that they have and
the San Diego
the beaches and
San Diego Zoo. What are we talking about here?
The zoo,
San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, there you go.
Hot take: the Wild Animal Park is better than the zoo.
Really?
That's my hot take. And that's in
Damn.
Escondido.
Nice,
That's like
nice,
North County. It's they have like the animals. There's like a giant roam area where all the animal, like a bunch of them, just like roam around. So like it doesn't feel like everything's all. The zoo is great. Don't get me wrong. I love the zoo, but Wild Animal Park or Safari Park is the old school.
Sounds like Garden Ridge Wildlife.
Yeah,
I mean,
north side, yeah.
North of town, you got Pebble Beach, you got Torrey Pines. What are we talking about, fellas? What are we talking about? Like a wonderful setup, just very expensive.
I want to hear Alan talk about the breeze again. He said it 3 times. There's a breeze at the soccer game. I don't know what that's like, dude. I literally have no idea what that's like. It's stagnant, it's humid, it's hot.
Yeah,
like, I want to hear about that breeze again.
Day games not so fun, but night games, like the sun setting and then the temperature just drops a little bit. Just this nice, refreshing breeze blows through the stadium.
It does not happen.
It's 100 degrees at game time here.
It's like 96 at game time at 8 a.m.
It'll be 60 or 70% humidity, 95 degrees, and they push back all game starts for the rest of the summer till 8 o'clock, and it's still 95, and it's still 70% humidity. And you smell after the game.
And this is why San Diego Padre fans are like, well, I mean, you might have beat us, but we live here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like, we still feel good about ourselves. I was like, all right, this is nice.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I think this is going to be there's going to be like a playoff match. I think there's going to be three
matches of this. I firmly believe that. You know, if they're on, well, even if they're not on the opposite side of the bracket, but I think they will be on the opposite side of the bracket. I think San Diego and San Antonio are in my opinion, the two best teams that should be able to handle business, and odds are they'll be at home, and you know, we'll see. I think you guys come to San Antonio in a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. So it'll be interesting.
It's before October, so for sure. But I think this is the only one that's going to be in San Diego, and then you're going to get 2 in San Antonio. So
there's no breeze. There's no breeze here. I promise. Be ready to sweat.
Well, the only breeze is when the only breeze is from Sama dinner and shot that goes in the back of the net.
Dinner and I like read your mind. You're about to say that.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for like no injuries and no red cards. That's what I'm hoping for.
Amen. Absolutely.
I know we've been peppering you with questions. Any questions that you have for us? Royce, Rafa, or Robert are pretty intelligent when it comes to the tactical side. Where you know, as you know from my Twitter experience, I like to do hot takes, some good, some bad.
Oh man.
Even if it's just about the city of San Antonio, I'll feel you.
I don't really care about the city of San Antonio. I'm just kidding. I need to go there. I've never been. I heard there's a nice river walk. That's what I've heard.
I'll be honest with you. I've lived a lot of places. I lived in the Midwest. I've lived all over Texas. San Antonio is the best place I've lived. Period. It's the people. People are.
You
great.
just can't swim in it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, no, you don't do anything in that.
And you just have to get out real fast.
Yeah, you don't do anything in that thing.
Unless you're Steve-O, do the flip in there.
Exactly.
I think you guys already mentioned like the way that Phoenix beat San Antonio. It is like that. San Antonio's kryptonite is like give them the ball and try to make them break you down.
Yeah. Yes and no. I'll say this. Yes and no. It depends on how what your back line looks like and how well you're set up defensively. that has been the typical thing for teams to do. I know the Roots tried it, and they were almost successful at it. Orange County did it, and they were successful at it, but they had to go to penalties to be successful at it, and we almost won it. So it's one of those things. If it's one of those, it's just not the striker's night who has the chances, because we're going to create chances. That's just what they're going to create the chances. If we just don't put away our chances and we just continue to get frustrated, then yeah, San Antonio's been getting a lot of early goals, so early goals help. They've also been getting late goals. Late goals help. So, and what I will say that really kind of breaks SAFC back are giving up early goals, because that's what they did to Phoenix twice, and that's so. If San Diego can find a way to get an early goal, you're set pretty, and you're probably going to do pretty well if you can defend it. If you can defend that lead.
My
but
second question would be: is San Antonio worried about the winning the Western Conference curse?
No, not at all. No, and the reason that I say no is this team is it's a nice mix of veterans and young guys. They've had their credo this whole season has been mentality monsters, which is a Jurgen Klopp thing, but they have been their number one thing is I'm an Everton fan, so it kind of doesn't help. Their whole thing has been resiliency, and that's a big thing that got them through this Los Dos game, and they have showed it time and time again is resiliency. Just go in there, and no matter what, just keep pounding at that nail until it goes into the ground, and that's what they've been doing. And they have, like I said, talk the talk, and they have walk the walk. So they're not gonna quit. So you need to really be on your toes the entire 90 plus minutes, and you saw what happened against Los Dos. Liam Doyle stopped for one play in the 96th minute when it was +6. He stopped. He didn't clear the ball. We scored. We tied it up, and we almost won it after that too. So it's going to be a tough out. It's going to be a tough out. But if you frustrate San Antonio early and you get a goal, you got a chance.
But our coaching's been a big difference too. I think the players really believe in Marcina in the system, like Royce has mentioned. I think they've bought into it, and they just don't panic. I think Marcina is that balance, because normally some teams would fall apart after that goal. This team, that being at that game, it kind of felt like when Real Madrid got back in that game against Man City when they got that equalizer. That's just how the confidence of these players have, and I think you can see it's like a brotherhood, and I think that's been the difference this year than even from last year. But everything's coming into fruition this year. Like the pieces are coming right together.
I will say this: the playoff structures changed this year, so it'll be interesting because the number one seed gets a bye that first week, where normally it's 1 versus 8. Then they also play the lowest seed, whoever wins that first week. So it'll be interesting, I think, for San Antonio FC having that break if they do. Whoever finishes number one, whether it's San Antonio or San Diego, it'll be interesting to see how they come out of that 1 week break, and especially if they give up an early goal. But I think where they play that lowest seed, whoever advances first, because we know in the West there's always upsets to where that could be a big difference, and not just talking about the West, but just in general on the playoffs. So I don't know if that first place curse is going to be the same where where you're not playing that first week, number one. Number two, theoretically you're getting the weakest opponent. Now this year could be different if Rising gets their act together and starts to move up with the addition of JJ Williams coming in, which I think is going to make a huge addition for them because it gives them that tall forward that they needed. That'll be the interesting aspect is and even for Loyal or whoever finishes second, if it is Phoenix that finishes 7th, that's a hell of a first round match possibly that you could have to face.
Well, second's anyway. The point that I was going to make is the whole point of USL restructuring their playoffs is the same reason that Major League Baseball has restructured their playoffs, and it's to really try to get those top seeds an easier route through to the championship. So the top seed this year, the first year of the first year period, the top seed is very beneficial, and it's going to be you're going to be the catbird seed if you're there, because you are going to get home field advantage and the lowest seeds throughout the playoffs. So so the number one seed, it's pretty vital. As before, it really wasn't, because I mean, you got who was the number one seed last season? Was it El Paso? El Paso played the Roots, got beat by the Roots because the Roots just sat back. They took their one chance, they got their one goal, and they sat back, and that's what you saw year in, year out. But this is the first year where that's changed. They've changed the format to try to placate to the first seed. So that first seed is very vital.
Yeah. Like, it's not about a fear of the curse. It's about like going through some tough times before the playoffs, so that way you're prepared for it. And that last game was like, God, it literally, you didn't want it to happen, but you did, because you want the team to bond even that much further. After talking to players after the game, like literally, they literally they were excited for each other, and that's all it's about. You even if it's a tie, it's a team bonding experience, and you need that, because the playoffs are gonna be tough. There's gonna be shitty refs, there's gonna be shitty situations, but whether you can give up or play through it, that's the key.
And I'll say this for Loyal, they the result was much different, but I think that the Los Dos game where they had the red card erroneously early, I think that's actually going to pay off down the road for them, because it's going to build that team even closer.
I agree.
Even though that result did not go their way, I think they learned a lesson that, hey, just because we're down a man, we can't relax. We got to keep playing our game, because I hate to say it, I don't think Loyal played their best game that match. I don't know what it was or what, but usually when a team gets down one, and especially at home, they make some changes and along those lines here. But Alan, I know we're about an hour and a half. I know you may or may not have another show tonight for that here with your schedule here. I know school's school's coming up, so wish you luck. I know you're a band teacher, and with band competitions, good luck with all that for you and your school. Any questions that we have before we kick Alan out, so that way we can do the standings, and then final thoughts, unless he wants to hang around for standings and final thoughts.
How does that, Alan? How do you feel about maybe the rumors with
Landon
going to
San
Jose? Yeah, how loyal is he?
Wow. Yeah, thank you, Orange County fans. This is so Landon Donovan's going to get looks because he's Landon Donovan, right? And I think Landon Donovan's also the guy that's going to take that call, right? He's not going to be like, no, I'm not going to take that call. Like, he wants to build those relationships as a coach. I do think he's going to move eventually. Like, Landon Donovan is not going to be loyal coach forever. So he's going to move on eventually. I don't think anyone's mad about that. I think if he does go, we'll wish him well. Hopefully it's in an off season where you have a chance to build. Nate Miller is phenomenal coach, super great soccer mind. He nerds out about tactics. I can sit down and chat with him for like 2 hours about soccer tactics and ask him all sorts of questions. So I think that there are pieces in place that if he decides to move on, it's fine. I think that's just the world of soccer, right? Like, we want our players to get good enough that they get chances other places. I think that as fans, we would want that development for our coaching staff as well, right? You want them to develop the necessary skills to move on to the next level. I mean, Nate Miller's working on his pro license with U.S. Soccer. So he's a young guy. He's not going to be here forever either. He's going to move on and hopefully move on to bigger and better things. And we'll cheer him on when he's coaching MLS or he goes to Europe. Like, whatever he ends up, we're going to support him, because I think as USL supporters, we've lived that, like, guys are only here temporarily. You support the team and you support the crest, and you want guys to be successful and move on. I think there's always going to be digs about Landon Donovan. I think we know that. We take the good with the bad. people have their opinions of him. Everyone absolutely adores him in San Diego. He is gracious with his time. He's almost always the last person off the pitch, signing autographs, taking pictures with kids. He's about growing the sport in San Diego, and you have to love that. And if that means he's going to leave eventually to MLS job, that means he's done a good enough job in San Diego that we've had the joy of a really good San Diego team for a couple years before he moves on. And he's probably going to move on. Like, he's not going to stay here forever. It's just a reality. I would like him to stay for maybe a couple more years or a star, right? Win the championship and it's like, all right, I'm moving on. Great. Like, thank you for the time. Thank you for the championship, or even like a deep playoff run at this point. Like, I think that's what people want. And if they're like, hey, I feel satisfied, I think Landon and Nate Miller has both said we have some things to prove still. We have some things to bring in some stuff to prove our project is worthy of a top spot in the USL. And I think once they get that, they'll move. And, I think that's just the reality. And I think loyal fans are already prepared for that. And the jive we get from Orange County fans about how loyal is San Diego, it's like, we don't care. Like, we'll hire another coach and we'll love him too, or we'll love her too, or we'll love them too. Like, as long as they're being successful and they're doing what Landon Donovan's done, is stand up for his players, stand up for the team, we'll support it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, Alan, it was a pleasure. We may see if we can have you on next time we face in a couple of weeks here, depending on if schedule works out.
All right.
Thank you for coming on. If you want to hang, you can hang, but
I'm going to towel off and get ready for 2 balls and a mic.
That's what I thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that is a great show. If you can catch it, the YouTube show, it's on late. I usually watch it on replay, but it's a fun show that covers they can do what we do, but covers all things San Diego. And I believe even covers a little bit of Tijuana. For here, I don't cover Liga MX, but I believe they've talked about it a time or two, and also other sports as well. So they're a little bit more well-rounded than just the soccer and baseball that Royce has covered.
They're big football guys. They do like fantasy football. I don't know what that's about. So, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Good luck this weekend. I'm hoping for a hard-fought, entertaining soccer match, and I think we're going to get it. So, good luck, and then we'll catch you guys later.
See you later, Alan. Thank you.
Good luck. Good night, Alan.
So moving on to the standings real quick, because I know we're already hour and a half. We've gone over our allotted time that we try to shoot for. San Antonio, we're just going to do the West. San Antonio in first with 50 points, 21 matches played. Loyal 7 points back with a game in hand at 22. Switchbacks are struggling at 40 points, so they're 3 points back, 7 points back from us now at 22.
San Antonio has the game in hand.
No, San Antonio has the game in hand. Sorry. New Mexico United starting to get on a roll as well, 38 points. It wouldn't shock me if they overtake the Switchbacks for third. Sac Republic got a well-deserved win in Charleston after winning the Open Cup match against Sporting Kansas City. They'll play in Orlando. And my final thought's going to be how I'll save that here. El Paso is kind of in a free fall. Got a big match, in my opinion, against Monterey Bay and 6 at 33. Lights, who we drew, play Phoenix at 32. Galaxy, we beat the Lights. We drew against the Galaxy at 31. Roots at 29, Rising at 28, RGV 25, Monterey Bay not in last, 23. Last is the defending champs at 22 points with 22 games played, even though they may have the Golden Boot winner. So Orange County fans, you keep saying that you're going to make a run. Well, you got 10 games to make a run and 10 points to make up and jump 7 teams, 6 teams along those lines. So not looking good for Orange County. Any thoughts on the standings before we move on to final thoughts?
Just need to keep on winning. I don't know when we clinch a playoff spot, but we just need to get that gap.
We're still away from that. We've got.
I don't want to.
Well, especially with the schedule.
You don't talk about it.
Especially with the schedule we have coming up.
Fine.
So, final thoughts here. I'll go with mine because I already hinted at it. MLS dude, you were super, super, super petty not tagging Sacramento Republic when they advanced. Yeah, I'm not so much concerned about the banner, where you had Orlando on there. And I know you probably had the banner for Sporting Kansas City, and you never thought that Sac Republic was going to upset Sporting Kansas City. But, dude, just tag. And, I know there's probably not a lot of love lost between Sacramento and MLS, just like, San Antonio. They've been burned several times. So if there's one city that understands what Sacramento's going through, it is San Antonio.
Yeah.
But still, you don't have to be that petty not to tag them, especially when you write out their name. If you're going to do that, just do that. It would have saved the PR machine so much grief, and it's just a poor look.
Trashy look. It's very trashy. That's what.
Royce, you can go next since you're next up.
Dude, I don't know. I got nothing.
That's all right.
Thank you for everyone for the birthday wishes. I don't know. Thanks. I'm older now.
Yep.
Rafa, how are you with the El Gato behind you?
Yeah.
I do like your setup now compared to the Club America flag. So
that'll be going up
this year.
That'll go up soon. And the other shout out to Rob with the. I think a lot of people got the kick with the legend, the San Antonio legend.
You like that? That's awesome. That was awesome. That was
I think they got some people like, wow, who's this? So, but my final thought, watch some games on Sunday. I watched the England Germany game for the women's Euro.
Yes,
really good game.
Yes,
very entertaining. And
did you see that handball in the box? The hand applied by England. Yeah.
I think it's
another
sorry for them. They haven't won anything in 50 something years, but it's gonna be like I said, I guess watching those games, it's gonna be interesting for that Women's World Cup the next year. There's gonna be some content, there's gonna be some deep.
Do you think U.S. is still the favorite, or teams over because France, England, Germany? You think they're more of a favorite now?
You can't count out Sweden and Norway. Even though Norway got blown out in one of those games, but you just. I'm not too worried about Brazil. I think Brazil's kind of the back end, kind of story, and there's not really much competition in CONMEBOL, but it's going to make things interesting next year when they have the World Cup. The U.S. is going to have to really kind of play perfect against these teams, and so any of those six European teams can win it all for next year. So it's going to make things interesting, and then. Last thing, like I said, have also on the same day, Royce's day, happy birthday to my younger brother, Alonzo, and to my aunt. Happy birthday to them. Got to spend some time with them yesterday, eating some barbecue and ruffles.
So one question here for you, and I'll actually ask Royce this as well. Your pick for Spain this year with the La Liga? Real Madrid, or you think anybody closes the gap? Well, that was for Rafa. Yours is going to be more.
I was like, do I really have to answer this? Do I really have to answer this? All right, I'll be on the next.
Rafa, you think with Spain, because that kicks off next week?
Yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, I know Barcelona's been spending a lot of IOUs. But
how
here's
are
the
they
thing.
spending? But that's a whole separate
They're
podcast.
spending somebody's money because they don't have any money. But
allegedly,
it may come back to haunt them because of the whole thing with the Frankie De Jong situation. And if he doesn't get sold, those players that they signed, they can't register with La Liga. And I think with any league, I think the FIFA, UEFA, they need to make an example out of these guys, because if it was any other team, they would have been dropped down to the second division. If you can't run your finances right, and then you have no business buying players and so forth. And they still owe money to players, and I'm surprised all those players haven't lawyered up and sue the hell out of Barcelona, even though they don't have money. But I think Real Madrid, and like I said, they're gonna have competition for Barcelona, but Real Madrid, I think they added the right pieces this year, and they got younger, especially in the central mid with Aurelian, and I know Rudiger that, so they have that squad's a good squad. I think they'll be fine. They'll be more competitive, but I think no one's gonna, as far as Champions League, I think they're gonna take things lightly with Real Madrid going into this year.
Royce, the EPL, the Premier League. I know you're not going to say Everton because to me, Everton's still kind of seeing if they can stay above the bottom line. But your pick on who wins the league this year?
So it'll be interesting. Everton have a
Sheffield. What is it?
the Everton have a real good.
Nottingham Forest. That's the one.
Not Nottingham.
Nottingham. Sorry, my bad.
No, Everton have a really good chance of going down, and a big reason is their ownership won't sell the team, even though they need to. And they're not really looking at quality players. They just got a guy that was relegated with Burnley. That was like their big winger signing to replace Richarlison. Not great. Richarlison, obviously, probably the biggest offensive producer for Everton, goes Tottenham. And then I guess they're going to get Idrissa Gana Gueye from PSG. Supposedly, that's in the works. So that's not looking great. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm just going to watch. I'm not going to have a lot of skin in the game on that one. And then as far as the top of the table, who do I think is going to win? It's probably going to be City. I just don't see Liverpool. Liverpool's a good team. But I think losing
Sané
to Bayern Munich is going to be a lot bigger of a loss than they think. I know they're trying to replace him with that Portuguese kid that they brought in.
Some talent too, though. I know they brought in some talent, but they've lost.
No, they lost, but
well,
no, they brought in. They got rid of Sterling. If you watch a lot of Sterling's movements last season, I'm going to take over for the Czechs, I guess, but. If you watch a lot of the movement that Sterling did, he did a lot of what Alan described Moon is doing, just kept the ball at his feet too much and would not pass. And Pep is a guy who wants a pass. And Sterling would just keep the ball. And that's a big problem, especially if you're going to have Haaland in the middle. You got to pass it to Haaland and find him and shoot. So I think this year is going to be a lot better offensively for Manchester City. With Haaland in the middle, you finally get a natural 9. And then out on the wings, you'll have Grealish. You'll have, African dude. What's it? I haven't seen soccer in a while. I can see his face in my head. Left-footed. Help me out. Come on. Left-footed on the right wing. Crosses a lot. He's not Moroccan. Algerian? He's Algerian, right?
So.
Somebody help me out with his name. That guy, everyone's screaming right now at me through their phone or whatever you're listening to us on.
Not Foden, right?
Man City.
Alvarez, Grealish, Mahrez.
Mahrez, thank you. Riyad Mahrez.
Algeria.
Yeah. See, he's African. That's what I mean. He's African.
Yeah, I guess
but Riyad Mahrez on the right, you're gonna have Grealish on the left, Foden in the middle, and all passing to Haaland as a 9. Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be decent. We'll see if they ever can overcome their Champions League woes. But the question was Premier League. City's gonna City.
And I'll cover Germany for Scott. Scott chimed in. Thank you for chiming in, Scott. Bayern Munich's going to win Germany. We'll just chalk that down.
No way.
Robert? Huh?
Is Robert going to do the calcio?
my final thoughts. I got 2 thank yous. I want to first say thank you to Google Fiber. You're a badass. Dude, I love y'all. And I want to say thank you to Alan.
Not a sponsor, everybody. Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Neither is Sonic. Neither are Sonic.
No ocean water, no breeze, nothing. But I want to say thank you to Alan for showing up. Yeah. He did well. It was great. Good to see him. And my last thing is, don't be a douche. Don't throw shit on the field.
We didn't cover that. We ran out of time.
Throwing stuff on the field.
Do not be that guy. It's a bad look. You get emotional. I'm guilty of it. Walk away, take a breath, and come back.
If you're behind the fans, no accidental
if you're behind,
showers.
If you're behind the benches,
But I
It's
know
not a good
on
one.
our row on the north end with 114, there have been a couple incidents where fans have thrown beer cans on the pitch, and that is unacceptable.
Exactly.
No matter what's going on.
Yep.
The ref, as much as we complain about the refs, we've had Danielle on. We've talked to other referees, and they are trying their best. Obviously we can go through and backseat driver and say, hey, they made the wrong call, but still that makes us look bad. That makes us as San Antonio fans look really, really bad and
I want to
shitty.
call it out, yeah, for
That's
sure.
correct.
I got to call it out because it's not.
No, I agree. It makes us look bad. It makes us look bad like we completely missed that that a right winger completely took the ball clean off of a offensive player and gave a yellow card to him. It's that bad. It's that bad of a look. So
Sure.
don't do it. Don't throw crap on the field. That's it. Don't throw crap on the field. Throw your cursing.
Yes.
Throw your words.
Throw your birds.
Don't throw physical
throw your
objects that can hurt
birds,
people.
whatever you got, but like don't throw shit on the field. Don't abuse,
Don't throw
like
physical
that.
things that can hurt
any
people.
of the bobbleheads in there.
Yeah, nothing of that.
Luckily, those didn't mean. Oh, that would have been bad. That's a projectile, sir.
There's plenty at AT&T Center, I heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're muted, Harry.
Hey, what's going on?
I had myself on mute because I was coughing. And
You're good.
I wanted to make sure I didn't say something that I shouldn't say. But no. Thank
don't
you to
throw
Alan coming on. Like I said here, I've followed Alan, for a few years, and he's a great guy. And like I said here, he started with OCSC even before Loyal came on. Great soccer guy, great teacher. He does things the right way. Part of the USL show, which covers the league overall with Kaler and John, USL Tactics John, and Ryan from Wilmington.
Is Pony on anymore?
No, Pony's semi-retired.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
He was part of the old crew.
As is Evan, I'm guessing.
Yes, Evan's retired. They turned the reins over to Kaler, and Kaler and I have a fun banter back and forth. But his Birmingham Legions, 1 week good, 1 week bad. But
the fighting Alabamas.
That's the story of the East.
So, outside of Louisville, that gets
the
fighting sweet teas. Yeah,
I don't want to hear about Louisville, and they're ahead of us in the power rankings. But we're about to. I don't want to hear about that.
We'll show them at the end of the season who the rightful number one seed is. That's all that matters. Those are just numbers. Those are theories.
Having gone into it with Nicholas Murray before over his rankings, we all know that he does it to number one. I don't think it's that far off, because San Antonio did get a draw. But let's be honest with you. Power rankings are about generating discussion and
anger.
You can't have the same power rankings every week, so you've got to throw some flavor in there. So
yeah, I got the hate during high school season with my rankings.
I don't want to talk about it. Louisville win 1-0. They said, "Oh, great, they win into El Paso." We just did that a week ago. Get out of here.
Strength of schedule and something. I remember getting lit up on that.
Yeah, I get excited about it.
But yes, power rankings. But I will say this: with having discussions with Nicholas Murray, even if you just go in and click and browse the articles, make sure you're doing that. Not only for SAFC articles that Kevin and the media team does, but also for USL Championships through the app and stuff. If there is, Jonathan checks articles on the strikers. If you're a subscriber, Edson down in the Valley, Joe out in El Paso. If you can kind of help support, and I'll steal this from John Hutchinson, the podcast, which he called Seriously Loco for their articles on Richie Ryan and Matt Ness.
That was weak.
For that here. So unfortunately with USL, we are quote unquote the media for it here. I think San Antonio is getting better coverage this year because of, I'm sorry, we went long.
I forgot about that. I was interviewed on Telemundo.
Oh, yeah.
How did you end up with that?
I was standing there and I was tall and the best looking person. I'm joking.
No, you're not.
Well, you
No,
are the
I
best
was-
looking person out of the group, out of the four of us. There's no, I don't think
Fair.
that's up for debate.
Fair, but
That's
no, I
fair.
was just standing there, and reporter Janet and reporter Santiago came and asked if they could interview me, and I obliged. And
Damn.
unfortunately, I couldn't do the interview in Spanish, so they're going to dub over me, I guess.
Called me. I would have
they,
done it.
they gave me crap. No, exactly. No, I saw
Mini
Jose. Like I saw Gordino down the way, and I was like, I can go get Jose real quick if y'all want me. They're like, no, I'm like, no,
Where's that?
I'm joking. I told him later, but do
When
what?
did that happen? When did it
In the
happen?
bunker. In the bunker at
Last
halftime.
game?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, nice, nice.
In the bunker at
I
halftime.
missed all that.
So
That's nice.
we'll see. We'll see what comes. Yeah, I know your kids were whining about being there too late the whole time. It's
they're
time
like,
to go,
"Man,
Dad.
let's
It's
go
time
home."
to go.
No, the players are coming. Calm down.
Speaking of
Let's
time to
home.
go, I think it's time we wrap this
Yeah.
up. Mike, we all need to go to bed. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
What's
Well,
life without goals? We're out
we're
of
in.
here.
have a good night. See y'all.